Good evening and welcome everyone. My name is Seven Sky Spelios of Seven Sky Music, and today we're going to be reviewing a piece by Dmitry Romanoff called New Year Fantasy. I reached out to some composers, some groups of people on Facebook, and this was one of the wonderful musicians and connoisseurs of music to respond to me, so we're going to be reviewing New Year Fantasy by him. Also, this was posted 5 days ago, and I also noticed that 12 days ago he posted On the Way to Christmas, so definitely seems to be a person who is into the festive side of life and the festive side of things, and I'm excited to see if this piece has lyrics, if it's just instrumental. I've heard, I think, the first 3 seconds of it. Aside from that, I'm going into this completely blind, so let's do it. I just want to say, really nice intro. It reminds me of well, it's definitely a fantasy kind of thing. I get reminded of like a in a children's TV show, the storybook opening up and the narrator beginning their spiel. Now our story begins with Dmitry Romanoff, the 8-year-old boy genius on Christmas Day, something like that. So that's really fun. Fun to hear and see. Let's continue. It's a fun little bass line. Boom, 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 boom. When it comes out every so often. It's interesting how and I think this is just a matter of flavor, and to me it doesn't even bother me, but the treble is like this, and the bass is kind of like this, and I don't mean the bass is in the instrument. Well, yes, the bass is in the instrument as well, but what I'm actually talking about is the balance of the mix, treble versus bass, mid-lows, mid-highs, all that kind of stuff. The treble and highs are like very overpowering, but that sense of brightness is kind of a staple in this kind of music, in fantasy things and in children's kind of soundtracks. And yeah, let's continue. This is really interesting in the way that the instruments that Dmitry is going for, they have definitely a kind of classic Christmassy, classic holiday vibe, but they also give off this kind of this new generation, this new wave of music, because you have like these high bells, which aren't necessarily trying to imitate the real thing. I don't know. It's kind of difficult to explain, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a very unique flavor about this piece. I don't listen to this and go, oh, Mariah Carey's going to come in any second, although some people might connect that. You know, I think this has a certain amount of uniqueness that intrigues me. So let's continue. That being said, I definitely could see this being a backing track for a singer or for a choir. I mean, the melody's already there, the vibe is already there, it's already established. It would be interesting if he took this idea and kind of arranged it for full choir and piano or something like that, added some lyrics, maybe even did a collaborative thing where he took a local poet's work, did some kind of collaboration to make this like a an awesome performable piece for the holidays, that'd be really fun. Yeah, this New Year fantasy it really does feel like a new year is upon us with this track. And by the way, Happy New Year to everyone on my channel. I didn't post anything for the first, and today this is the second. So yeah, hope you're all having a fantastic new 2019. Hope everything's going well for you. And yeah, I'm really happy and excited to be listening to this really nice piece of music. It reminds me, because I get a Christmassy vibe off of it, because I get a holiday vibe off of it, I can't help but think of the movie Gremlins. Have you seen that movie? It takes place in Christmas time, and it just features a lot of similar songs to this. You got a lot of minor fours, you got a lot of diminished and minors preceding major chords. And that being said, I appreciate the knowledge of harmony that Dmitry obviously has. Nothing really stands out to me as crazy out there harmonies or anything like that. But at the same time, that's not the mood that you're going for. The point that I'm trying to make is that if this target board is the holiday feel-good jingle music, then Dmitry has hit the very middle peg of the bullseye, the very middle of it. It's spot on, and I really can appreciate that. Okay, yeah, that chord change is super prominent in all this kind of music, and I think it's the minor 4-6 of whatever chord he's going to. It could be a minor 4-6 of 2, minor 2, but yeah, what it is exactly doesn't really matter. It's the fact that change exists, and it makes me happy. That's one of my favorite things. And for you aspiring musicians, artists, composers out there, I would advise you to experiment with using these minor 6 chords, otherwise known as half diminished chords in first inversion, to transition to any major chord, or even minor chord for that matter. Really experiment with these kind of movements. I'll give you some things to try. A really classic one is go from F minor to C major. That's a really nice classic move, and that kind of thing happens a lot here. And C major can be it can be our home key, it can be the tonic, or it can be something else. But yeah, try that, and then mess around with some other chords. Try going F minor to C minor, F minor to A minor, things like that. Anyway, enough with the theory talk. Let's continue. Okay, this is the first moment where my eyebrows raise and my ears perk up and I go, whoa, what is this? This kind of sounds like a move to the major flat 3. Not sure about that 100%. Or the major flat 6. One of those. But let's listen. Do you feel, though, as the listener, even if you're Dmitry, do you feel like at this moment the whole mood, the whole atmosphere, the whole song just kind of lifts up all of a sudden? Let's go back a few seconds and replay that. Yeah, and then we start rising. This is probably the first moment where I would have maybe done something different than Dmitry has done here. We kind of get that lifting feeling, and then we rise up a half step. I would have kept that rising idea because that is really taking us to a new place. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen next, so I might do something along those lines, but that's what I would have done, you know. That uplifting chord, and then up a half step, which is what you did, and then up a half step again, you know, just keep going like that, and feel it out, feel where it goes, feel how bright you can make it, feel how high you can take the audience, in my opinion. Let's do it. Cool. Oboe solos. That's something I don't hear very much, especially in this kind of music. Very interesting. I like all the chord changes. I think there's a variation in this section than normal in the verses, if you want to call them that. I'd be interested to know what DAW and what sound libraries Dmitry's using here, because I'm just used to Vienna Symphonic Library, and I'm not sure if... I don't even really know the other ones, so it would just be interesting to know. That oboe voice... Now, of course, this probably isn't his fault. He might only have access to this one articulation, but it kind of seems strange to me that the oboe's always, you know, articulating every note, you know, tonguing every note instead of da, that kind of thing. But that might not be an element that you can control. So if not, don't worry about it. It's still a great solo. I would have enjoyed. One thing would be, of course, I am a saxophone player. So I'm a little biased in saying that I would have liked to see some more blues note, you know, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, that kind of thing. But of course, that's all a kind of taste thing. It's not super important. The other thing is if it in the middle of that like brightened up even more, like went up another half step, that would have been kind of cool because you would have been kind of continuing that chromatic idea and still bringing the solo to a higher level. It would have kind of worked in two ways. But let's continue. Yeah, that's a brightening idea. I think we're just ascending. We're going to take the main idea and go into another harmonic place, and that's really exciting to a listener. We're like, okay, whoa. You know what I mean? Or maybe I'm being a little over the top. I don't know. The point is, that's a great move right there. I would have liked to see it a little more. Maybe it's hard to say. Now that we're this far into the piece. We only have about a little less than a minute left, and I can definitely hear the development, and I can hear the ideas that I'm talking about happening, you know, not where I expected them to happen, but they're still happening, and that's really exciting, really fun. And I can hear that the oboe is still kind of a prime character, and this might still happen, but it would be exciting to me if the oboe was interjecting more between the lines of the voice and the melody. That would be something that would be really exciting for me, because I love when that kind of thing happens, and you're kind of crossing genres when you're doing that. You're kind of crossing the improvisatory elements of jazz and other genres, and, you know, Christmas, holiday music, New Year's music in this case. And I always love some good genre crossing, because that's how we get new genres. This seems to be the core idea, melody, motif, whatever you want to call it, from the beginning. We can hear that the bassoon is back in full, the oboe, they're kind of playing around. I'm pretty sure it's the same melody from before. And that's really great to have that return at the end. And I can also hear, I think there's a wind sound effect in there. That definitely sets the mood of kind of the chilly breeze in the middle of the morning, maybe the early morning. And that's really cool. Before I forget, I want to mention that I really like Dmitry's SoundCloud page. His profile picture is just him chilling out in his house, I assume, with a glass of wine. Definitely the kind of person that would write and listen to this kind of music, especially around the holiday season. And I noticed also in his bio, he says, "I'm an adventurer. I like invention and discovery. And welcome to the adventurers. You are one of us." If you don't know, I call, in most of my videos, all my subscribers adventurers. My intro is "Aloha, my fellow adventurers." Sevenadventure here. And so that was kind of funny. When I went to look at the SoundCloud page, I was like, "I'm an adventurer. Is he leaving me an Easter egg?" I'm sure not, because it's not like I copyrighted that word or whatever. But let's finish this piece of music, and I'll give closing thoughts. Nice. That was New Year Fantasy by Dmitry Romanoff. Link will be in the description below to check him out. Closing thoughts. One thing is that I kind of wish that the bell was a little more at the end, the tubular bells or whatever they are. I wish that they were a little more spread out. To me, it kind of felt like bum, 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 bum. It wasn't quite that fast, but to me, I kind of wanted to soak in every note. I think someone who's really sitting down to listen to this music, they would appreciate that too. A bum, ring, bum, ring. I don't know if this was like 1/4 note at the beginning of each measure in whatever BPM this is, but maybe try doubling the amount of space between each of the things and see if that works. And for all these suggestions that I provide, I'm not necessarily talking about this exact piece, advising you to go back and redo things and re-export it and re-upload it. And no, that's ridiculous. But if you find yourself writing something like that again, try thinking of what a first-time listener would witness. And to me, as a first-time listener, I really want to absorb those bell hits, and I really want to be indulged in those. I don't want them to be, ringing too much. So try spacing that out next time, if there's a next time, and see what happens. But yeah, I want to thank Dmitry for letting me review his music. And if you want to review his music, it's down in the description below. As always, if you want your music to be reviewed, or you have, or people who would like their music reviewed, hit me up in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next music review. Have a good night, everybody.